Hello, PlayStation Nation. I'm just kidding, guys. Welcome back to the Battery Podcast.
Today we are going to be discussing the power of saying no.
Or just the power of saying no. How powerful is that? Most people are vaginas and don't realize that no is in their vocabulary.
Yeah. That's funny. They don't realize that. It's funny because where I work, I'm in charge of produce routes for a produce shipping company, and it's so funny. It's maybe I'm just a dick, but I enjoy some of our accounts. The people that are in our accounts, they would ask us, "Hey, is it possible if I could get my route for 6 a.m. or 7 a.m.?" And I love telling them no. I love saying to them no because your driver's route is at 11 a.m. Yeah, and I love saying that. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm just being a dick, but yeah.
I just feel like it's super useful because a lot of people, let's say they get, you see this all the time. They get stopped by some guy in the street trying to sell them something, and literally they can't say no.
Yeah, exactly.
Or, like, you're on a budget and you walk in somewhere, like the gym, and they'll bombard you. The trainers will bombard you with, come sign up with me, you need it, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And it might be true, but, if you're on a budget and you obviously can't.
Yeah.
And there's some people that will say yeah and just fuck up their shit.
It's funny that you mentioned, because I actually feel bad because I actually have done that. I've gotten people to sign up with me and then have them halfway through realize they weren't really able to afford it. Yeah, to really afford it. I mean, I didn't never strong armed anybody. Like, never once did I strong arm someone into signing up with me. I had a couple people that I worked with. A couple people I worked with, they would actually do everything in their power to strong arm them and strong arm people into training with them. It's a different situation because whenever I presented my programs, I believed in them, and so that's part of the reason why I was able to sell a lot of training is because I believed in them, and people still said no to me, and that's fine.
But even though you did, when you did sell it to that person and they realized they couldn't afford it halfway through, and that's not your fault. That's completely their fault.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it worked out for you. Unfortunately, it didn't work out for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have to. I've obviously been in that situation. It took me almost all my life to learn how to say no. Like, I recently started doing it 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I would say about 2 years ago. Just because, I'm very passive. I'll just go throughout my life and try to avoid conflict, and that's not how you should do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need to deal with your shit. So you have to tell people it's a yes and no. Yes and no are very powerful words.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, being a yes man, you'll be taken advantage of constantly. So if you want to avoid being taken advantage of, you just have to.
You really do have to be willing to
say.
Yeah, regardless of how people look at you, and regardless of what people think about you. Because here's the thing: at the end of the day, this is your time, your resources, and your life. You need to understand that. I don't think a lot of people realize what's at stake. They're so hell bent on just not ruffling any feathers they become passive, and they go along with everything. And I learned to say no a little while ago, and
yeah, I would say you've always gone against the grain, so you probably didn't have that problem.
I never really had exactly.
Compared to me, I definitely had that problem. You always went your own way. So.
Yeah, exactly. And for me, it was unconscious. I just said, hey, I don't want to do that. So no, nobody. Here's the thing, for me, like, nobody can make me do something I don't ever want to do. If my friends told me, hey, let's go out and get shit faced this weekend, but I have to compete this weekend, and I have to train, in jiu-jitsu, or something, I will put that above else. I think that's another way. I just realized this is the way to really be able to say no, and the way to actually be able to let me put it this way. It's much easier to be able to say no when you know your priorities and your values.
There you go.
I think that's the problem with people who can't say no, is they don't really understand their values and they don't understand their own priorities. They don't really have real priorities or real values, and so that's why they are capable. They're not capable of of not saying no. And I think that's why I was always able to say no. It's because I always knew what my priorities were. For the longest time, I understood. Okay, well, I have to do this, so no. So it was never really a deliberate thing for me. It was more of, well, it's no because I have to do this instead. This is something that needs to be taken care of.
I think that's spot on, because I didn't really... It took me a while to figure out what my priorities and my values were. Because, I mean, when I really figured it out was monk mode, and that was like 3-4 months ago.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started using it. So, like I said, it was probably even more recent that I started saying no than I thought. Just because, I mean, 2 years ago, I was still partying. I was still being a kid.
Hey, dude, I mean, that's nothing wrong with that.
No.
For a kid your age, of course, that's nothing. There's nothing wrong with that. Of course, we're all going to go through a phase like that. I went through a phase like that myself, So yeah, it's understandable. So don't even think that that's only just you that's suffering from that or having to.
Yeah, no, you're very right. But the fact that, I mean, I realized that I was just pushing away my priorities and my values just because I was trying to have fun, and I didn't realize how important that is. Just because if you don't prioritize or have any
real values,
you're just gonna go living life like a fucking soulless,
passive imbecile. I get it. Like, I would have, remember, I would say no to people to say, to asking me to go out or doing this or doing that, and I would say no to them, and they would get butthurt because they were like, oh man, he doesn't ever want to do this anymore. Because I used to party.
You changed.
Yeah, I changed. Yeah. It's like something. Well, I changed, but I'm changing for the better, And I think that's another thing too. Is it really the whole metaphor of the boiling crabs in a bucket makes sense, because if you have like 10 crabs inside a bucket and they're in a boiling pot, and then one of those crabs is trying to climb up, all the other crabs are going to do their best to pull it back down.
Yes.
They want to bring you down to their level, and at a certain point, you're gonna have to say, you know what, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
You will ruffle feathers. You will ruffle feathers, and some people are not gonna like you. But a wise person once told me, if everybody likes you, you're doing something wrong. Everybody at work hates my guts. Yeah, I love.
All right, sorry guys. That was a weird situation, but so everybody at work hates you?
Yeah, everybody at work hates my guts, but I don't care. It's funny because, I mean, I'll get into this just very briefly, but it's just weird in a office setting, because I work in an office. I'm behind a computer. I feel like this has to be the dynamic in almost every office, because it was like that even before I got there. So there always has to be a pariah. There always has to be someone to hate in the office. Always. Before me, it was this girl that used to work there. Like, she was the most hated person in the office.
Was it justified? Do you know?
I don't want to get into that. Okay. That I'm in no position to say beside, so I won't get into that. But since she left for her own, for the reasons that she did, then I guess that crown is now bestowed upon me, and so people avoid me, people don't like me, and that's fine. Well, not everybody, like just the majority of people. There's a select few that I became really good friends with over time. So they, a couple of my coworkers I really get along with, but for the most part, everybody either doesn't like me or doesn't really think much of me, and that's fine. Like I said, part of the reason is because I fought back.
You speak your mind.
I spoke my mind. Yeah, exactly. Like some people tried to push me around. They tried to push me around. They tried to bully me, essentially, and I shut them down. I shut them down quickly, and they didn't like that. They did not like that.
I feel like Bumfield is a similar way, too. Mm-hmm. At his work, I feel like a lot of people, or he told me that his manager hates him, mm-hmm. and he's just like,
I don't care, dude. And the other thing, too, is the reason why I don't care, honestly, is because those people don't pay my bills, for one. And two, they don't run my life. They're not in charge of my life. If I cared enough about what they thought about me, I'm giving them power, And so yeah, I mean, they try to bully me they really try to be, I don't know, it's like, and it's mainly the women there. It's actually only the women and certain women. And they tried to strong arm me. They tried to bully me. They tried to show that they're bigger and more alpha than me. Weirdly enough, they pump their chests. It's like a chest pumping situation, and I just go, okay.
Woof woof.
Yeah, exactly. I play a completely radically different game. I don't really bother with them, and so now when I go to work, like I said, I just pay mind to myself. I only pay attention to myself. I work alone. I don't really deal with them.
You don't have the relationship with or you don't try to make a good relationship.
No, I don't try.
You're not a people pleaser.
No, I'm not. Yeah, exactly. I'm not a people pleaser. I'm not going to try to get them to like me. If they like each other, that's fine. But if I'm gonna be the guy, if I have to be the guy, then by all means, I have to be the guy. I have to be the guy to hate, and that's fine. These people have been there forever, so like I have things going on outside of work. I have a lot of things actually. I think that's what keeps me balanced. That's what gets me to be able to survive my job.
That's probably true, because if you didn't have all these other things going,
I would lose my mind,
and you would probably start hating everybody in there too.
I would hate everybody. I would lose my mind. I would become incredibly depressed. Like I would, like I have multiple things that I'm working towards. Like, and that I have I just competed last weekend, by the way. Side note, I just competed last weekend and I got my first win as a blue belt. So, step in the right direction. I'm going to be competing again in August. And yeah, I'm still planning on having a lot of fun this summer. But anyway, back to saying no. Yeah, I think the root of it all is that the people that can't say no or that are too passive, they don't know themselves well enough. They don't know their values and they don't understand their priorities. And I think that's what causes you to say no. Because like if you don't have priorities and strong values, then it's going to be a lot easier to be to be taken advantage of or to be influenced by someone else. Instead of really thinking for yourself and understanding what's more important.
Again, I think you're spot on, because like I said, I didn't realize when I was just when my main priority was just hanging out or trying to have fun, I really didn't care about all those things, my values, my priorities. What was the other thing you said? Whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just knew that I wasn't going anywhere and I had to work on myself to be a little bit happier, to be where I want to go, or to like start taking a step direction where I want to go. And being a yes man, being just passive, saying yes, that's not the way to go through life, man.
It'll catch up to you.
Yeah.
And the thing is too is you won't see it coming. Like you won't realize it until it's almost too late. Sometimes, some people don't realize it in their entire lives, because they go about life and they're what's known as an automaton. and so they function. They're almost like too much of a well-oiled machine, and so being an automaton, you don't really think too much for yourself, and you just kind of go by. You go along with the undertow, and that in and of itself is very dangerous for the human spirit and the human mind. Because we as people, as humans and as men, we want to build.
We want to progress.
Yes, progress, move forward. But in the world where there's so much distraction, it's so easy to get caught up in the undertow, and it's so easy to just get incredibly distracted, and it's easy to say, to go along with what everybody else is going.
You just watch your life fly by and not be able to do anything, or be able to do something about it, but just not willing to. And no, bad.
Yeah.
But
yeah, no, and so I feel like I'm starting to realize that, at least for myself, I'm gonna I'm gonna live my life the way I live it. I have no complaints. I love what I'm doing, but I'm also actively going to make sure I go against the grain, and I fight. I'm gonna wage war against the consensus on all fronts, not just on the physical level, but on a mental level, in a spiritual level as well. And that it's gonna require me to say no to a lot of things, a lot of people, and so, yeah, I mean, it feels good. Again, I've always thought this way. I was never really.
I was always scared of saying no, just because I didn't think, or I was always afraid of what they would say. Mm-hmm. Like I said, I was a people pleaser, and if they had a negative tone on me, it would bring me down, and I didn't want that. And then when you start building yourself up, you kind of stop giving a shit what other people think about you.
You really do. And that's a beautiful thing.
It is, just because I mean, I know exactly what it was like, just because, I mean, I'm always trying to please everybody, or I was always trying to please everybody, and when I started focusing on myself and telling people to go fuck themselves for a bit, it's like a new opening, a new key.
It's a new you realize you have more freedom than ever before.
Yeah. It's just a good new fucking feeling.
Yeah.
To know that you can handle yourself, kind of thing. Yeah. So
that's the way it's been for me for a long time. Is no one. How do I put this? I don't ever do something for other people. No one ever tells me what to do, and nobody. If I say yes to something, or I agree to do something, it's because I want to do it. It's not because it has nothing to do with peer pressure. It has nothing to do with because everybody else is doing. It's because I am doing it, and it's because I want to. Nobody strong arms me into doing anything ever, and it's been like that for a while, for me at least. It has its ups and downs, and it can become a double-edged sword from time to time, because then you certainly sometimes you can sometimes neglect other relationships. I know my friends and I, we spent a lot of time apart for a while because I was so hell-bent in my own little world. And so there also needs to be a balance too. You also need, if you are going to retain these relationships, every now and then, you are going to need to, you're going to need to, step out of line every now and then. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a balance. It's always a balancing act. It's, and I've always been known for going on extreme ends of things.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm an extreme person. I will, if I
once you put your mind to something, you literally do it.
Yeah, so. And there's nothing stopping me. Nothing gets in the way. And again, that does essentially ruffle some feathers here and there. So I'm learning to balance it. Just a couple weeks ago, when we went out, to go drink with all our friends, it's not something I'm known for doing. I'm not known for being a hard drinker, or I'm not known for going out on the weekends to party or anything like that.
You can count how many times you've been drunk in the last.
I literally can count how many times I've drank. This entire year, I've only drank twice. But yeah, so it's it's a little out of character for me. But again, it was because I deserved it. I had some fun, and so yeah, so it's just a balancing act.
I mean, it also helps you figure out your real relationships too.
Mm-hmm.
Just because, I mean, like, let's say for you, that whole time that you were hell bent on paying your student loans,
Yeah,
you stopped kicking with everybody. I'm pretty sure
I did. Yeah,
but I mean, the people that are still there, you really know that
yeah,
they're your friends.
yeah. They exactly. They supported me during this entire time. Like that I was away for a while. Yeah, like I have a tendency to do that. And when I explain, I remember it's so funny because Dallas, who you guys will probably meet pretty soon.
Hopefully soon. Yeah.
And you guys are gonna have a field day with this gentleman. He called me halfway through my journey, I guess, into paying off my debt, because he noticed that I wasn't very active in social media as I normally was on Instagram. And so he called me, and this is how good a friend he is. Like, he noticed it. Like, I didn't make any announcements on social media. I didn't say, "Oh, guess what? I'm going to go away for a while," like most people do. I just stopped going on social media. And so he actually called me and says, "Hey man, what's going on? Like, I haven't heard from you. You haven't been, like, I've sent you a lot of stupid memes, like, and you haven't sent any stupid memes back." And I go, "Oh well, that's because I'm going away from social media, from everything, because I'm not going to be hanging out with anybody at the moment because I'm working to pay off my loans." My student loan debt. And he goes, "Oh, that makes perfect," because he knows me so well. He's like, "Oh, that makes perfect sense. Like, well, good for you, of course. Like, do your shit." I just figured, like, I was worried because I didn't hear from you, but I knew you weren't doing anything stupid. Like, those are his words. He said, "It's like, I knew you were away. I knew that you were away for a very specific reason, and I knew that it had nothing to do with being stupid, because I know you're not a stupid person." So yeah. But yeah, no, it's one of the. I think it's one of those things. I've always been able to do it, and I think you're starting to be able to, like, really hone in on and zooming in on exactly what it is that you want to do, and just go after it. I think the other reason is we're both starting to realize our mortality.
Yeah.
I think about death every day. Every single day, whether it's not just my own death, but, like, other people's.
It's crazy how, like, a couple years ago I thought I was immortal.
Yeah, how retarded is that? Yeah. No, and it was a couple years ago that I realized I'm gonna fucking die one day.
Yeah.
Like, what am I gonna do? Like, what am I going to achieve? Like, and here's the thing: I'm not searching for millions of dollars and having a fuck ton of resources. I mean, I know what I want to achieve. I know what I want to do in this life, and the great thing is it's narrowed down to just a very specific few things. Everybody, I think, we'll get into this topic another time, but I also want to get into the effects of social media.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, because I recently deleted all of my social media, like everything. I don't have any Facebook. I don't have Instagram. I don't have anything. I deleted it completely. Before, during when I left social media for a while, I didn't delete my account. I just deleted the app from my phone, so I could still log in, but I just I wouldn't be able to do it from my phone instantaneously. So as soon as I logged back in after about 6 months away, I was like, "Oh, there's too much craziness here. I'm out." So, and yeah, I mean, it helps you focus. So
it does help, because when I was on social media, all that time that I spent on it, I realized how much time I was spending on it. How much you spent, and I utilized that time to do something even a lot more productive, like read, fucking, I don't know, do some rock climbing. Yeah, exactly. Just do other shit that matters.
That actually matters more
compared to just scrolling and figuring out what people think about you.
Yeah,
and that's all bullshit. So say no to social media every once in a while too if you need it. Obviously, it does help businesses sometimes, but for most people,
You have to use it the right
for
way.
most youngsters or millennials, they'll just use it for
The wrong reasons.
titty pics,
Yeah.
ass pics, and
You can get that anywhere.
Exactly. Come on.
Well, by the way, we've already discussed in previous episodes how abundantly easy it is to get a lot of titty pics out in the real world. So just saying. Anyway, anything?
I think that's it. Next week, we're planning on doing a pretty crazy one.
Yes. It's gonna be a bit far fetched for some of you.
All I'm gonna say is beware of giants.
Yes.
You fucks.
Later.
I'll catch you later, guys. Have a good one. Love you.